Welcome to the show. Big wins, guys, across the board. This is amazing for Americans. I love it. President Trump is a winner. Everybody's a winner in America right now because a deal has been made and they are moving forward. What a win for all of Americans. But not only are we reopening the government, we just exposed the Senate Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, leaderships in the Democratic Party that they do not care about the American people or their health care. Trump literally came out and said, we want to give money directly to people and put that in the deal and don't give the Obamacare subsidies to the big health insurance companies. And guess what Hakeem Jeffries said? No, they're fighting against it. They would do anything that they could to stop this new bill. This is them showing they're for the big health insurance companies, not for American citizens. Again, give the money back to the people. Because not only that, everybody, Trump is doubling down this morning. Let's go. Okay, all the money, he said, left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income USA citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial, will be used to substantially pay down the national debt. Again, confirming we're gonna use the tariff revenue, give it back to the American people. They deserve it. They're the ones that are holding up this economy. I love it. If you love it too, hit that thumbs up like button, guys. Two big, huge wins for Americans. And again, Congress has put us into so much debt. So put this money back into our pockets because we're the ones that didn't get us into this huge $38 trillion of national debt. But President Trump also came out with another big, massive blow to the Democrats this morning. He issued pardons to some big names: Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Christina Bobb, Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, and a lot of there was over 200 pardons that he himself signed, not the auto pen, and a lot of people are happy about this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We also have it where again, this is big, everybody, 8 Senate Democrats have defected from their own party to align with the Trump MAGA crowd to bring the shutdown to an end. Maggie Hassan, Dick Durbin, Catherine Cortez, Angus King, Tim Klain, Mark Kelly, Jack Rosen, and Jean Shaheen. It is amazing, everybody. Not only did the Democrats cave, because again, there's nothing to negotiate. Trump, the amazing art of the deal maker, has just put America on his back to bring us to the best economy ever. Because guess what again? The Supreme Court is taking up a ton of cases right now, especially for counting mail-in ballots that are received after Election Day. 18 states currently allow late ballots to be counted. And this just shows you what I'm about to tell you next, why this stuff is so corrupt. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon has officially confirmed that there was 75,000 independent voters in the Pennsylvania elections that were not included in one county on the polls. They rig it, they have the elections, and then after the fact, you can't do nothing about it unless you have everybody vote again. This is how the cheaters win. And now we're taking it to the Supreme Court to dial in the voter ID, dial in our elections, guys. This is big news today. Because once the Supreme Court settles it, it doesn't matter what these states say. We are going to bring free and fair elections, and I believe it's coming right now, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm super excited about today because not only is it coming to an end, people are going to get some $2,000 checks, better voter ID. This is amazing. This is what we voted for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Big show today, everybody. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. Cannot thank you enough for your support and liking our videos, sharing our videos. If you're not a part of the family yet, please hit that subscribe button. Join our family here at TrueLife News so that we can take care of you every day with the breaking news. And want to say, if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out the channel so much with growing our family. Give some special love to our boy Richard PDX67, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. And our boy Patrick Trebet with the favorite GIF. Let's go. Show Patrick and Richard some love in the chat, everybody. And don't forget to show our boy Jim Barbato, OG of the channel. This is big stuff today, guys. I love it because, again, no matter what, I believe common sense is winning out. We're finally getting people to come over to the middle, and this is the best for America. Listen to this.
Toward reopening government overnight, voting 60-40 to break the filibuster and advance a spending measure. The final package vote set for the coming days, and if the bill clears the Senate, it will move to the House, where, if passed, it will need to be signed by the president before the government can officially reopen. We are expecting that signage on Wednesday. 7 Democrats and 1 independent voted with Republicans to clear that procedural vote. Here's some of their reasoning. Watch.
This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country. Let me just say this. With the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026.
I understand that not all of my Democratic colleagues are satisfied with this agreement. But waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome. So let me be clear. No one in the Senate chamber wants to extend the ACA tax credits more than I do.
I joined this group to make sure that we could get important protections for federal employees. And what we have in this bill is the restoration of all the furloughed employees and a guarantee of their back pay.
GOP leader.
So everybody, I've got the details of exactly what's in the bill in just a moment, of what they agreed on and the concessions that both sides agreed to, and I'm going to show you in just a moment.
Is now promising a December vote on extending enhanced Obamacare subsidies. They've been the Democrats' main sticking point, of course, in this record-long standoff now, day 41. The latest short-term spending bill would keep government funded through January 30th. I spoke with South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham yesterday, and he laid it all out ahead of all of this. Watch.
President Trump said yesterday, I will not accept continuing to give hundreds of billions of dollars to money-sucking healthcare insurance companies under Obamacare. I'm going to give the money to the people so they can buy better and cheaper health care, and that broke the Democrats. I think the government's going to open today because cooler heads are prevailing on the Democratic side. Senator Shaheen, Senator Collins, Katie Britt, and many others. I think we'll have a breakthrough today. The government will reopen today. We're not going to talk about health care until it does, and when it does, Donald Trump's going to lead this nation to change Obamacare, where all the money goes to the 7 top insurance companies in the world.
So this is big, everybody. I want to show you the details because this matters. In the reopening of the government, these are the key details of the agreement. This funds the government through January 30th, 2026, providing short-term stability. This also fully funds multiple agencies, USDA, the VA for the fiscal year. It extends SNAP food assistance benefits for the fiscal year and reverses cuts that affected low-income families. It restores back pay for 2 million furloughed federal workers and reverses mass firings and non-essential roles. So again, this is the part that always gets me, everybody, because you have 2 million furloughed federal workers that were not working for what, 40 days? And now they're going to get all that back pay and they didn't work. They didn't do anything. But this is how bad our Congress is run, that now we're going to give back pay. And again, too, it's not their fault. It's Congress's fault. And this is where we lose productivity when it comes to Congress. The ACA subsidies, there's not going to be anything done with it, but there is an agreed upon and scheduled standalone vote by mid-December 2025 on extending the enhanced tax credits for the ACA Obamacare subsidies. And this is all from COVID, guys. This makes no sense. So in COVID, they increased it, and now they just want to continue with that increases. No deep Medicaid cuts whatsoever, but it is a win. All this is a huge win for Trump. These are the names of the 8 Democratic senators that voted with the House Republicans to reopen the government. And again, This is, somebody made this up. This is a joke, guys. But Chuck Schumer kneeling before Trump, Time Magazine, because guess what? You did get some common sense Democrats to side with Trump. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, hit the thumbs up like button. Guys, this is big, big stuff. I love it. This is, again, what is the outcome going to be? Do something different. And again, I want to show you in just a moment, because Trump is doubling down, guys, on his tariff checks for Americans. This is something that, again, he wants to use the money to go back forth and pay off the national debt. But at the same time, too, he wants to give it to those low income and middle income earners. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because the updates on this is beautiful, guys. This right here just shows you that Trump is doubling down again, will receive $2,000 tariff checks from all the money that's coming in. Okay, I know it's the ads, guys, but said President Trump that each American will receive at least $2,000 from the tariff revenue collected by the administration. Big, big, big money, guys. And again, I want to show you this because this is just as important. It's not just about, okay, we said it was going to happen, but he's doubling down. He said all the money left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income USA citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial, will pay down the national debt. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
So, Liz, Lindsey Graham felt that with the president's pressure on the insurance companies and this idea that, look, we're going to just give the money to people, they can decide what they're going to do with their health care. That was one of the sticking points and the breaking points for Democrats. Of course, not to mention all the flight delays, all of these federal workers working for 6 weeks without pay, and, of course, the SNAP payments going away. Finally got a break yesterday in the Senate.
And high time, Maria. I think the entire country was fed up with the gamesmanship of the Democrats, even though it looks from the polling like people were blaming Republicans, not Democrats, which was really an appalling thing. Look, markets around the world are rallying because this is not just good news for the United States, it's good news for the entire world. The United States is the pivotal economy. We have seen consumer sentiment depressed, I believe, partly because of the government shutdown. It's been costing our economy $15 billion a week, apparently. It's slowing growth. And the transportation problems are definitely interfering with commerce. It was time to get this thing off of square one and get it settled. And frankly, Democrats have nothing to show for this absurd, long, troublesome and painful shutdown. They did not win on the Obamacare subsidies. There will be discussion about it. By the way, what President Trump lofted in the way of that money directly to the people, that's what happens in the private world. Let's make some changes because at the end of the day, Obamacare doesn't work. It is too expensive, and that is what this wrangle is supposedly all about. Although what we really know it's about is basically Chuck Schumer being terrified of AOC and the far left.
Yeah, bingo. Spot.
Let me tell you again, guys, this is the #1 reason why things are not working. Texas AG Paxton sues Open Borders Group for a scheme to register illegals at the DMV. This is happening all across the United States, okay? It is a 100% coordinated effort. And when you see that literally an attorney general is suing these borders groups, and I promise you they're getting some form of federal aid, then you look at this chart that was brought forth by cis.org and see that 59% of illegal headed households receive some type of welfare, whether it be cash, the most of it is food, and Medicaid, okay? So again, we don't want to hear it. Every time they kept saying it wasn't happening, we're showing you the charts here. The lawsuits are real. The judges are bringing this up, and it's all because these people have chosen to step over Americans and put illegals in the front. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Jim Barbado, let's go, brother, with the super chat. I love it. Show Jim some love in the chat, everybody. OG of the channel. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. Means so much. We are 100% dialing this in, growing our voice. Thank you to everybody that supports our channel. This is big, guys, what you're about to hear next. Because no matter what, the more that the investigations happen, the more we're uncovering. Listen to this.
On all of that. And Mike, not to mention the fact that we have already seen a material impact on the economy, and this is going to hurt for the fourth quarter numbers. Flights throughout the U.S. still facing delays and cancellations as the holidays inch closer. The government shutdown caused air traffic controllers to miss 2 paychecks. Between Friday and Sunday, more than 25,000 U.S. flights were delayed, with more than 5,000 cancellations. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy called out Senate Minority Leader Schumer in an X post. He wrote this: "The only person playing politics here is Senator Schumer, who voted 14 times to keep the government closed." The secretary emphasizing who was affected, including American travelers and air traffic controllers. California Congressman Ro Khanna has had enough of Schumer as well. He wrote this on X: "Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for?" That was an interesting...
Guys, this is literally somebody from their own party. They're crumbling in, y'all. No good policies, no leg to stand on. When your own party is calling you out and saying to get rid of leadership, you know something's about to change. And what I love is what I'm going to show you next, guys, because no matter what, the more and more that these people try to fight and say, oh, we're going to give you this and we're going to give you that. Let me just go ahead and show you guys. You know this Mom Donnie guy that won, right? And he went and he was promising anything and everything to all these New Yorkers. It just so happened that the governor, Hochul, came out and said, we can't do this free bus plan, or we can't really tax the rich more because we already tax them a lot and we just don't have the money. Guys, as this news comes out, you can't make it up. You have the socialists that promise everything, but whenever you actually have to put some action to it, you actually get nothing, guys. This is literally the breaking news that came out this morning. What a joke the Democratic Party is becoming.
Post from Ro Khanna, Mike, because Ro basically is saying, look, he wanted to continue to fight. He was not one voting for the end of this. So we'll see how this plays out in terms of Schumer's fate. But at the end of the day, many Democrats knew they had to get this government open once again. And we're still on day 41, by the way.
Yeah, so it's not open yet. And it's important to remember this entire thing was performative. The Democrats were never going to get, remember first it was the money for Medicaid and Medicare to go to illegals, okay? And then it pivoted to the Obamacare subsidies once they were losing that argument. So there was never a plan here. This was all shut down. But look, who can blame the Democrats? Last Tuesday was an absolute bloodbath for the Republicans. Yes, it was blue governors and blue states, but down the ticket, they got destroyed. So it's good that they're ending it now because the Democrats could have held out for much longer. Okay, from an investor standpoint, you have $1 trillion that the government has not spent that is draining global liquidity, and that's why I think stocks have gotten crushed over the last few weeks, despite having one of the best earnings seasons in recent memory. So look, I'm looking for a great year-end rally due to the government reopening, and I'm looking forward to not sitting on the tarmac for hours at a time when I fly across the country.
Yeah,
and I want to show you this, everybody, because it gets pathetic. Like, I don't even know, this is what they call like the white guilt that is happening. But when you got a lady who literally steps down and kisses the shoe of Jasmine Crockett, like, this is so disgusting. No human should ever do this to anybody. But this is literally where the Democrats are at right now. And again, I just want to remind you, the majority of the problems that we're facing is because of this right here. This is what happened. They let in just droves, an invasion into our country. But look, when you look at Trump's border, it's not even the same. Nothing is happening with Trump's border. No people coming in. Zero. This right here just shows you, everybody, where they were at, where their priorities were at, and how much of a difference it makes. Here, let me play right here so you can see the video. what a difference it makes having a president who actually puts Americans first. If you love this, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is just a reminder, guys. All this stuff that Trump is doing, it's big things. Big, big, big compared to what we came from. And listen to this, because again, the Trump is going full scale on the lawfare that came against him and every one of his people over the past 5 years. Listen to this.
Barton, come on in here, boy. Ed, at the cold open, we could have played an hour worth of commentary from the Morning Joes and from Ken, was it Delanian over at NBC? You know, he's the comms director for Comey, these guys. Just walk the audience through about these pardons so everybody understands. And then I want to get to, I guess, this report you put out subsequently about the whole rationale behind it. Walk us through first what exactly happened.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot, Stephen. Semper Fi, Semper Fi. Thanks. My brother's a Marine. Jim
brother's a Marine?
my brother's a Marine. Yeah. He served overseas, all the wars and all, and he's a hero. He's the real hero. So, my brother Jim and all the Marines, thank you. I put something up on X today, Steve. I said, as long as America has the Marines, will never fail. We'll never fall, right? We got the Marines. So, look, I became a U.S. pardon attorney. I was planning on being U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., right? I was enjoying that.
You had quite a run.
I had quite a run. I will say some of the stories.
No, the establishment was, and not just the progressive Democrats, the Republican establishment was absolutely shaking. They have a guy in there that's a law and order guy.
Yeah. So, well, and it was really important work, and I loved it, and I had hoped to do it for the whole 4 years. The Lord has different plans, and when I spun around and the president said, "We're going to withdraw your nomination," he said, "But I want you to keep fighting," and I said, "I'll do what you want, sir," and he said, "I want you to be the U.S. pardon attorney," and I thought, okay, because I care a lot about the pardons because of what they did.
And the anti-weaponization.
Yeah, I was going to get to that,
okay.
right? So he says pardon attorney, and I thought, well, I care about that.
Yeah.
I care about the J6ers, the FACE Act, the pro-lifers. That first week in office, I'll never forget, I'd never been in the Oval Office. Okay, so it's January 24th or 3rd, and I go in there because the president's signing a pardon for 2 cops, MPD cops that were sent to jail for being honest brokers and chasing a bad guy through the streets. And he looked at me, first time in the Oval Office, I'm nervous as can be. He looked at me and he said, these are good pardons, right? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, we're gonna do the right thing for the cops. I said, yes, sir. And he said, did the MPD tell you they like it? I said, yeah, they do, sir. And he's like, great, signed it. I mean, we had great work. So the pardon attorney, I thought, it's important. But then he said, I want you to run the weaponization committee.
Or kind of the anti-weaponization.
Well, anti-weaponization. But the first thing is to shine a light. And I've said this before, name and shame. I mean, look, when Bondi gave us the memo, General Bondi, the memo, the first one is Jack Smith. First one to investigate is Jack Smith. We look at Jack Smith, and I'm in the middle of this still. What you see is Jack Smith was targeting who? The electors, the alternate electors across the country. Jack Smith thought he was going to be one of the famous lawyers who tried what I call a maxi trial. In the 1990s in Sicily, they tried all the organized crime. Jack Smith thought he was that guy, except he was the guy running the conspiracy. He was the guy doing this stuff. So when we looked at it, the president said, pardon attorney, and I said, okay.
Hang on a second. Maxi trial, he wanted to put hundreds of people on trial at the same time.
Yeah, sorry, I got us distracted, but it's important because it plays into what happened.
Yes.
Jack Smith's vision was charge hundreds of people across the country. All the alternate electors, all the people that put their head up and said,
all the lawyers that
all the
worked on
lawyers
things.
Charge a maxi trial and then when he's done,
Navarro, Bannon, everybody around the president and the president of the United States.
And he only lost. He only ran out of time because guys like Todd Blanche, my current boss, John Lauro, they fought it off and they fought this guy off and they stopped him. So anyway, when the president says, I want you to do the weaponization and the pardon attorney, I looked at it, I said, the pardon attorney, and then Steve, you lived it, but I learned it. You have a chance, president, and he loves this. You have a chance to give real mercy and give people that were wronged a break. So I get in and he says to me 2 things. He said, one is there's people that deserve a break that are in jail, in prison. Find them and help them get a break. Guys that served a long time and all. But he said the second one was weaponized against us by Biden and Obama, by the way, and just the government. And we started looking at that, and the electors across the country, the pardon that came out today was pardoning these electors because they did what? They did the exact same thing that in 1960 the Democrats did in Hawaii. There were 3 Democrat alternate electors, and nobody said a word. It's exactly what you did.
This is big, everybody, and I want to show you what the details are. President Trump has issued pardons for Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Christina Bobb, Boris Epstein and dozens of GOP electors and others tied to the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Again, guys, we know. To me, I believe it 100%. These are all the names that he pardoned. And yes, President Trump did sign. That's his real signature, not the auto pen. That we won this big time. And again, I believe we won the 2020 election, but because of what happened and because of COVID and all that, I am happier that we won the 2024 election, won the House and the Senate, and I believe we're going to make a bigger impact because the team that he has now, guys, we got rid of Pence and all those other rhinos. We have a better team now, but these are all the big partners they're talking about. Melinda Johnson, let's go. Welcome to the family. Show Melinda some love in the chat, as well as Andy. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. Said, what is Mike Johnson giving these demon rats in return? They don't do anything unless they get some pork. I know. So that's what we're waiting to see. Show Melinda and Andy some love in the chat, everybody. Trump is, and this is a guy, again, who's handling all the pardons, who's handling the weaponization of lawfare that was used against Trump and his team.
When you operate the Constitution, not when you don't. And Steve, here's the thing: you're Steve Bannon. Out in the country, in the states, frankly, more normal people, regular guys and gals, put their hand up and said, "I'll be an alternate elector to help." They were the county chair, they were a local judge. And Jack Smith and his team and Fannie Willis, they destroyed these people. And so you had people borrowing against college funds, redoing their mortgage, selling their house.
Going into their retirement, selling their house.
And so my point was to the president was we should pardon these folks. And he said, research it. And Bondi and Blanche said, research it, get it right and tight, and we'll consider it. And we did it, and we got it all together. And I asked probably 50, I didn't ask you, Steve, I should have, 50 lawyers and top people thinking about it. How do you look at this? And what you described was the working document that we put together, which is it describes exactly what happened. The people in this country operated within the rules and the law and the Constitution, and they were brutalized by it. And so the pardon attempts to start to change that, and I think it's the opening, I know because I'm involved, in getting to the truth of 2020.
So, and that's part of the document that you put.
So crazy, everybody, that again, all this stuff, just, I want to show you this, guys, because it's crazy how many people are coming over to the right side now that the Supreme Court is now hearing the case that has been a GOP-led case that could tighten mail-in ballot rules nationwide. Because remember, California was counting mail-in ballots over a month, guys, a month after the election was finished in 2024. Mississippi's 5-day mail-in grace period is under fire. A lower court says ballots must arrive by election day, not just be postmarked. Now 30 states are on notice, and the vote whenever you feel like it crowd is about to lose it. And all this, Reuters is reporting just in time for 2026. This is big, everybody. Imagine if not only they tightened it so that you had to be in the military and you had to be like, it was some crazy thing of being out of the country. This could change everything. And once the Supreme Court decides it, it's done. This could change everything for the 2026 midterms. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because all this lawfare is going to come back unless we win again in the midterms and we get the right people and keep the right people in leadership.
Subsequently, it kind of explained your rationale.
Yeah.
How does this go? Because these are state charges, and you've got some pretty radical AGs, particularly in Arizona and some of these other states, that are going to sit there and go, hey, Donald Trump and Ed Martin can do all they want, but we're going to triple down on these people and grind them into dust, which they've been doing.
Right. Couple things. One, there's a broad argument that the pardon can apply to state charges that I leave to others for fighting it out. But there is, in the history of the country, of course, you go back in time at the very beginning, the charges, a pardon operated against any crime against the United States at the period early on. You were pardoning local charges too. That's a different debate. I don't think right now we win that in the courts. But I'll just say this. If you charge somebody for forgery or obstruction of justice, and the underlying crime that you're claiming is forgery or obstruction of justice, is definitively, the government says it wasn't a crime, there was no victims, there was no cost. You take the wind out of the sails of the argument. What are you doing? And what becomes clear, and should be clear to the American,
they're doing this for politics.
Targeting. It's targeting people for politics and otherwise. And look, out in Wisconsin, there's a guy named Judge Trupus. He spent his whole career, it's like Eastman, Dean Eastman, whole career, not like you and me. These people are quality lawyers and thinkers. They're not in the fray like we are, and they get destroyed. Their reputations, 70-year-old man destroyed.
Trupus came up here and testified at the one time. He was in the impeachment. He was fantastic.
Fantastic. Assault of the earth, smart guy, and so they destroy these people without blinking an eye. And it's truly the conduct is evil, that the people deserve to be named and shamed and held accountable in every way.
How did the president respond when you went to him with your package to do this?
From the very beginning, President Trump, from the very beginning, two things I'd say. One is he has a heart for anybody who's been wronged by government. He feels it. He lived it himself. But the second thing is he loves, as you know, he says things like, I like it, go do this, this, and this. He saw it.
Right.
And then he said, people
don't realize, he goes through the details and comes back with some great guidance.
And he said to me, go do this, don't forget this. And then what he always says, Steve, is he says, do it right. Like, go do it and do it right. And so I got to tell you, people argued against it, for it, internally, externally. And the president was like, like I say it all the time, no MAGA left behind. We're not in a time where we could debate this. People that were wronged by the Biden administration were targeted because of what they believed and who they were. That's without a doubt now. It's not a debatable point. We got to try to fix that in every way we possibly can.
And Obama.
And let me tell you this. A lot of this stuff started with Obama, y'all. A lot of this stuff. And now that Chuck Schumer is losing it. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Now that Chuck Schumer is losing it, you got the Senate minority leaders gonna be replaced, everybody. Representative Ro Khanna literally calling him out to his face, saying he's no longer effective and should be replaced. Why? Because of this right here. I want to show you this chart. This is from FAIR. This is the illegal alien population since 2013. Really had a steep incline, right? Whenever Biden came in. Now look at the FHA loans during Biden's administration that were given to immigrants without permanent residency. It skyrockets. Then look at how many non-citizens, remember we've reported on this, receive Social Security numbers. Guys, this is literally almost 4 million. So everything that I show you, the Democrats did by design. They tried to create a new, just 100% party, a Democratic Party where they literally would win because they imported voters. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Said, time to bring in the private bounty hunters for immigration enforcement. This creates jobs for Americans. Well, we now know. Thank you so much, brother. Show Andy some love in the chat. Over 200,000 people have signed up for ICE to be a part of ICE. Guys, that's big. That is a huge, huge, huge win. I want to show you this too, because this is always the breaking news, always the biggest updates of what's going on with the ending of this shutdown. Listen to this.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very thankful to see you all this morning. I'm thankful to welcome you to what appears to be the beginning of the end of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, as shameful as that is. I don't think it's coincidental, you know how I think, but it's after 40 days of wandering in the wilderness and making the American people suffer needlessly, some Senate Democrats finally have stepped forward to end the pain. It appears to us this morning that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end, and we're grateful for that. At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hardworking American people have been asking them to do for weeks. But as we said from the beginning, the people's government cannot be held hostage to further anyone's political agenda. That was never right. And shutting down the government never produces anything. It never has, if you study history. And so here we are. I want to remind everybody this morning of another critical point that you've heard me here repeat over and over the last several weeks. It's something that I and Leader John Thune and President Trump and every Republican leader have all said repeatedly from the beginning. We have always been open to finding solutions to reduce the oppressive costs of health care under the Unaffordable Care Act. We just made clear that we would not and should not ever do that, that is, negotiate as hostages. And I've also reminded you here every morning that this Republicans have not just been talking about reducing costs and fraud and abuse in so many areas and in healthcare. We've been actually passing new laws to accomplish that urgent mission for the people, and we will continue to do so. So here's where we are by way of schedule, just so you know, you're following. And if you're not at home, if you're waking up to this good news this morning, the Senate's vote late last night of 60 to 40 opens the door now. The Senate is moving forward on an amended House CR, a continuing resolution, that will reopen the government until January 30th. Added to that are provisions to fully fund SNAP provisions through the end of the next fiscal year, which is September 2026, guaranteed back pay for all federal workers who have been made to endure these hardships over the last several weeks. And it also includes passage of 3 appropriations bills, which we're grateful to be moving through the process. That is the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs bill, it's the Agriculture bill, and the Legislative Branch bill. The Senate will be back in session this morning to finish their job, and we're certainly praying that they do. They'll need unanimous consent from all senators to fast-track their final vote. As you know, there are some procedural hurdles that one or more could throw in the way, but we certainly hope that they won't do that because so many people across this country are desperate for the government to reopen. At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice.
Guys, how crazy is it? These dang people that are getting paid, almost $200,000 a year, they can go home, they do their thing in their home state or whatever, but it's just crazy how much they get taken care of no matter what. Government shuts down, they're getting paid. Even Rand Paul said, no, I don't want to vote to not get it paid during this shutdown. All the while, you got Trump over here who says Americans will receive $2,000 tariff revenue checks. This is beautiful. And you know what, guys? Let me tell you this. The federal income tax that goes into the United States federal government, the more that I've been reading all this documentation over all these laws and crap, the government actually calls it revenue. It's not revenue. Revenue is whenever you actually make something or do a service for somebody and sell it, and then you generate revenue. But they're calling it revenue from the taxpayer because that's what we are. They 100% are they take our money, no questions, no thoughts, and then they do whatever they want with it, and you get little, barely any feedback on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. We're dropping some truth bombs today. If you approve of this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, show April Green, Alice Lewis, our boy Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Thank y'all so much for your support, everybody. And hey, where the heck is B1 Sly One at? I haven't seen that dude in a minute. Show him some love in the chat, everybody. This is big. Again, lots of changes that are coming. This is not over. There's still a lot that needs to be done, but I am glad that no matter, even during the shutdown, Trump is putting Americans first.
So that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk. As you all know, and he said as recently as last night, I was with him, and he told the press, he said, we want to get the government open. He's very anxious to get the government reopened and to end the Schumer shutdown. We all are. With regard to the travel challenges, I spoke yesterday at some length with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, my former colleague and good friend, and he lamented the serious situation that we have with air travel in the U.S. He's bent over backwards, as all members of the administration and the cabinet have done in all of their areas of jurisdiction, to try to keep the government working for the people and to mitigate the pain and the harm. But the problem we have with air travel is that our air traffic controllers are overworked and unpaid, and many of them have called in sick. That's a very stressful job and even more stressful exponentially when they're having trouble providing for their families. And so air travel has been grinding to a halt in many places. And as of Sunday, nearly half of all domestic flights, U.S. flights, were either canceled or delayed. And it's a very serious situation. So I'm saying that by way of reminder. I'm stating the obvious to all my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats in the House. You need to begin right now returning to the Hill. We have to do this as quickly as possible. Now, we look forward to the government reopening this week so Congress can get back to our regular legislative session. We have a lot of business to do, as you all know, and we will be working in earnest. There'll be long days and long nights here for the foreseeable future to make up for all this lost time that was imposed upon us. I want to close with something that's important. I think it's important to say that this is genuine. I mean this sincerely. We applaud the 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent senator who did the right thing. They decided to put principle over their personal politics. And my urgent plea of all my colleagues in the House, and that means every Democrat in the House, is to think carefully, pray, and finally do the right thing and help us to bring an end to the pain of the American people. This has gone on too long. Too many people have suffered, and it's long overdue. That's the update.
Big time. Big things happening, y'all. I want to show you this because, again, Andy brought it up. 200,000 plus new ICE applications received since immigration crackdown began. That's big. Cleaning up America, making sure we know who's here, getting the criminals out, top priority. Jim Barbato, let's go, brother, with the super chat. I love it. Show Jim some love in the chat, everybody. OG of the channel. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. We appreciate you very much. I wanted to show you this, everybody, because this is the stuff that is happening behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know is happening, but I show you things you normally don't see on mainstream media because it matters. Listen to this. This is over the fight over all this Obamacare, ACA subsidies, all this. A lot of people are coming together and agreeing Obamacare is a scam. Listen to this.
Obamacare was a lie from the beginning. They knew it was a lie. They actively told lies in order to take over a third of the U.S. economy. Yes. And it has gone downhill ever since. What you don't know about Obamacare is that it has utterly destroyed the free market system.
Yes.
You know, you've got the people who wrote the ACA. It wasn't written by Democrats. Nope. It was written by big pharmaceutical companies, big insurance companies, big hospital providers. The unholy trinity got together and said, how can we create a system whereby trillions of dollars of taxpayer money will flow directly into our pockets? Yes. And that's what they did. Yes. Under ACA, it is no longer legal for doctors to go form their own hospital group. They can't do it. Yeah. Under ACA, the licensing requirements for doctors have gotten so onerous and it's so expensive that you create literally a shortage of doctors that now drives the price up. And you've basically forced them because of all your maniacal billing practices that you have to essentially take insurance. Yes. I mean, there's still a few. There's still some doctors you can go to where they'll tell you, if you ever ask, like, hey, this procedure, like you walk into a doctor's office and, they're going to do a test or something. Oh, that's $850 and that'll be covered X% by insurance. What if I pay cash? Oh, I could do it for $150. I mean, it's insane.
And so, again, everybody, all this stuff that's coming out, like people are fed up with this stuff. And that's why what you're about to see next, again, it was all by design. I'm going to show you some crazy facts, everybody. But I'm telling you, Obamacare, them getting into it and trying to control it, and even during the pandemic when they enhanced the credits during the pandemic, and now they want to just, continue the enhanced credits. Anytime the dang stupid government spends money or doesn't increase, they never want to pull back. Never. Show our boy Richard some love in the chat for gifting a TrueLife News membership. Let's go. Thank you so much, Richard. Show him some love in the chat, as well as Andy said, man, dummy seems confused as to why police have started leaving the force at a rate of $200 to $350 per month during his campaign. Can't wait to see the fallout of New York State. It's already happening. Big truth bomb. Show Andy some love in the chat, everybody. This is big. Listen to this, because I'm telling you, Trump is doing some big stuff when it comes to getting past the Bidenomics.
Besson is here. They're more scared of capitalism
than they are of communism. And communism destroyed Venezuela, and it's coming to New York City.
Jesse, it's never worked anywhere before. Give me one example where it's ever worked. It's a thought experiment that always ends in decay, ruin, and the poorest elements of society, they are doing much worse.
So it's also a situation in China. They don't call it communism, but it's basically that kind of system. You were just there with the Chinese sitting across from Xi Jinping at that table. Were you, like, trying to grab a fork and just kind of poke these guys like that a little bit?
Jesse, you know, only President Trump could deal with Xi Jinping. He did a fantastic job. He has great respect for him. Clearly, President Xi has great respect for President Trump. And President Trump rolled into Asia, into China's backyard, and did trade deals and peace deals. So we were in Malaysia. The president signed the Cambodia-Thailand peace deal. We did trade deals with Malaysia, Vietnam, then we moved on to Japan. President and the new prime minister got along fantastic. The Japanese agreed to invest $550 billion into the U.S. Then we went and we had the meeting with the Chinese. And I can tell you that President Trump has gotten us into a very good place with the relationship. And it's based on his strength. The U.S. is back.
So one of the things that's gotten us to this position are tariffs. And the Supreme Court is going to hear the tariff case this week. If they kick that out, what happens?
Just think about this, everybody. What is Trump trying to do with the tariff revenue? Use it to give back to American taxpayers $2,000 checks. Now you have that all the Democrats are trying to get rid of it, even like Rand Paul trying to get rid of it. It doesn't make any sense because, again, too, we've been screwed over royally when it came to tariffs, and now that a president is actually doing something about it, that's whenever they start finding it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Well, I don't think they're going to. I'm actually going to go and sit hopefully in the front row and listen, have a ringside seat. And Jesse, this is a matter of national security. If President Trump had not had the IEPA, which is an emergency tariff authority, back in the spring, he put IEPA tariffs on China. And last week in, in Korea, the Chinese agreed to start working to bring down the precursors for fentanyl. If fentanyl is not a national emergency, what is? China, on October 8th, threatened to curtail rare earths to the entire world. President Trump threatened to put on 100% tariffs and protected our national security using the IEPA power. And then finally, these big trade deficits we've had for years in economics, there's something called a tipping point. And we were at the tipping point. Fortunately, President Trump came in, he put on the tariffs, he is rebalancing global trade in favor of the U.S., and he has prevented an economic crisis.
So the media is going to say if the Secretary of Treasury shows up, front row seat, to the Supreme Court hearing on tariff, you're intimidating the justices. They're going to say Bessent is intimidating Justice Jackson and Sotomayor, and you shouldn't show up.
Well, they can say what they want. I am there to emphasize that this is an economic emergency. National security is economic security. Economic security is national security. As the Treasury Secretary of the United States, I'm in charge of maintaining both.
All right, so the stock market's ripping, and it's taken a little...
I want to show you this real quick, everybody, because, again, Trump is doubling down on this. Money for Americans is big. Listen to this.
The president once again brought up the idea of Americans getting a cut of the tariff revenue. He posted on Truth Social this weekend and said we're taking in trillions from tariffs and a dividend of at least $2,000 will be paid to everyone. Here's Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on how this could work.
the $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
The president once again brought up the idea.
Big, everybody. This is big, big wins for America. And it's all based upon what? Moving forward the United States of America. This is big. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Let's go. Said Pelosi may be resigning because she is involved in the J6 pipe bomber. Wouldn't doubt it. She's got a lot of bad stuff in her past. Jog Haws, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, thank God for Donald J. Trump. Amen, brother. Show Jog Haws and Andy some love in the chat.
Security is economic security. Economic security is national security. As the Treasury Secretary of the United States, I'm in charge of maintaining both.
All right, so the stock market's ripping, and it's taken a little while for us to wind down Bidenomics. Prices are starting to stabilize. We're on the cusp of the golden age. You can see the golden age right there. You can almost grab it. For some people, they've already grabbed it, if you look at Bitcoin or their 401k. Where do you see the next year going?
I think next year we're going to go back to what we had in President Trump's first term, which was very solid, high, non-inflationary growth. So we're going to see very strong job growth. And Jesse, I think we're going to have what I call parallel prosperity. Main Street can do well, Wall Street can do well. It's been a long time since Main Street's done well, and that's what happened in Trump 1.0. Hourly workers did better than supervisory workers. The bottom 50% of households had a net worth increase that was higher than the top 10%. So we are going to see Main Street surge here along with Wall Street, which we've already seen. So I think it's going to be a great year next year. I think inflation's going to come down. We're seeing gasoline prices come down. We should see interest rates come down, which will help the housing market.
All right, and if things don't work out, you can always give people...
Let me tell you this. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we are kicking Bidenomics out the door. We're bringing in the truth, guys. Again, what I'm about to show you, it all boils down to why we do what we do on this channel of bringing the truth.
Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme, but there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing.
And again, you're hearing this, guys, from the DOJ. That's why this is so important that I show you that when it comes to your health care, right now, we are in open enrollment time right now. If you're on Medicare, this is why we partnered. You can look down here, guys, at the bottom with Chapter. Medicare, your Medicare is so important to make sure that you get the right plan for you. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services estimate there will be about 5,600 plans available nationwide in 2026. 5,600. That's why we partnered with Chapter, and they compare every single Medicare plan for free. This is all free service to you. It's usually done in 20 minutes or less. The number is 667-895-3015. They're going to get you taken care of, everybody. 667-895-3015. The reason that I show you this is what you just heard. When you know that there's Medicare fraud out there, and that when you pay more than you should, where are they giving this money to? Illegals, or it's pocketed by these health insurance companies? Because again, if you don't have the right plan, you will overpay. And when there is 5,600 plans, How do you know which one is the right one? That's why we partner with Chapter. It's free. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. They're going to get you taken care of, everybody. We've had people on this channel say $1,400 a year, $2,700 a year, $1,200 a year. Big, big money savings. And I want you to save too. If you're on Medicare, call them up and tell them I sent you. 667-895-3015. They're going to get you taken care of. Kim Jordan, OG of the channel, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, thank you for all you do, Joel. You are appreciated. We appreciate you, Kim. Thank you so much for your support. And our boy PDX67, Richard, with some super chat. Let's go. Bravo. I love it. Every single time, guys, we drop these truth bombs on just showing you all the evidence. It is one step closer for us moving in to go after all this corruption, everybody. Listen to this, because every single time we are getting new evidence to show you how lawfare was used against the conservatives of America, the MAGA of America, Trump of America. Listen to this.
Congressman Brandon Gill. Congressman, what do you make of this story? Congressman.
Well, listen, thanks for having me on. You know, John Brennan is somebody who led the weaponization of the federal government against President Trump. He lied before Congress. He said that the CIA did not want to use the Steele dossier as part of its intelligence assessment that formed the baseline for the federal government going after President Trump. Come to find out, we have found out since then that it was himself who actually signed off on using the Steele dossier. He lied before Congress, and he ought to be held accountable.
So that Steele dossier was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. It's anti-Trump opposition research that's been debunked. So let's go through it. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan referred John Brennan to the DOJ, saying the former CIA chief willfully and intentionally lied to Congress in his 2023 House Judiciary testimony. He's accused of denying that the CIA used the debunked, discredited anti-Trump Steele dossier in that 2017 intelligence community assessment for then President Barack Obama on Russian interference, and that he also claimed the CIA opposed, including the dossier in that. But he has a long litany of accusations against him that he's repeatedly been lying to Congress even before that. That's what the news reports show.
Well, that's exactly, both he and as head of the CIA and over at the FBI have been lying repeatedly about what was going on under the Obama administration and under the Biden administration, by the way. And they ought to be held accountable. Listen, the American people want to know that those at the highest levels of government are going to be held accountable the same way anybody else in America would. That if you lie before Congress, you're going to be indicted.
Let's move on to this. Let's get your reaction to Senator Lindsey Graham. He spoke on new evidence that has surfaced in the federal criminal case of James Comey, accused of lying to Congress and obstruction. He faces a January 5th, 2026 trial date. Watch this.
I never believed that you would get, if you're the FBI director and you get an investigative memo from the CIA that Hillary Clinton is trying to tie her opponent, Donald Trump, to Russia, that wouldn't ring a bell. Now, what do we know now? We now found in a safe in a very remote area in the FBI, James Comey's notes 3 weeks later, dated September the 26th, 2016. In the note, he says, James Brennan, JB, HRC planned to tie Trump. In his own handwriting, we now know that he was briefed that Hillary Rodham Clinton planned to tie Trump 3 weeks after the briefing. So we got it in his own handwriting.
So let's go through that.
I just want to show you this because somebody, our boy Andy brought it up, everybody, that when it comes to these people and their corruption, Andy said Nancy Pelosi's husband increased his portfolio 1,700% this year than others who got 10%. He's better than Wall Street. Yeah, better than Wall Street. But this is something, everybody, that I want you to see because it is so important. You can see right here, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, took out a PPP COVID relief loan for $711,000 and then $996,000. Okay? Both were forgiven. So when you are in, like Nancy Pelosi was, These people that are part of these companies worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you take these loans and get them forgiven. This is what is corrupt in America, that this is the deep state, the elitists, operating at a different level than everybody else. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
Let's show the handwritten notes dated September 2016 by James Comey, indicating he was aware of intelligence that Hillary Clinton planned to tie Donald Trump to Trump Russia. It reads, HRC or Hillary Clinton planned to tie Trump. This is about prosecutors substantiating the federal charge of lying to Congress and obstruction. It's about establishing a pattern of him lying about this in his recollections and his testimony to Congress. Go ahead, Congressman.
That's exactly right. And every day we're learning more about what was going on. We're learning more about how deep this weaponization, how deep this corruption was under Biden, under President Obama, and they ought to be held accountable. That's all that's happening here. All that's happening is accountability for people at the highest levels of government who weaponized the federal government against their political enemies, and they ought to be held accountable for it.
Yeah, the operative word is he used the word plan. So he knew about the plan. He knew about the plan ahead of time. That's what's key here. Congressman Brandon Gill, thank you so much.
Again, this is all the stuff, guys, that we're bringing out today. So much is going on, so much wins for America. But again, it's every single day that more stuff like what you are seeing and like this is happening, where we are suing and we're going after people that literally we're trying to register illegal aliens in our country as citizens to get them benefits, to make them voters, and push them towards the Democratic Party. This has been happening for God knows how long, everybody. And this is undeniable. You don't get the Texas Attorney General suing an open borders group when there is no basis for a lawsuit, because remember, before they even bring this stuff up, they have to go get it approved that it is actually has a merit for there to be an actual case. And that's where, again, every day, that's why we're called TrueLife News. We want to bring the truth. We're in America first. Hey, I'm an American citizen. America first. That's what we want. Take care of our own, just like here in my own home. I'm not going to go to my neighbor's house. I'm not going to pay their bills or put food in their fridge or make sure that they're safe before I take care of my family in my own home. And that's what we're doing when we say America first for our country.
They owned the shutdown. They celebrated the shutdown. They destroyed the blue-collar worker, air traffic controllers, SNAP programs. They bragged about what they did, and we had 8 wonderful senators have that moment of clarity. They caved. So it's going to be procedure right now. They're bringing Cornyn. I believe he was flying in from Texas. We get that vote. We have a conference call. We're going to huddle this morning. I believe around 10 or 11 with the speaker. I imagine we'll get the 48-hour call. We'll be there Wednesday, probably work all day Wednesday, Thursday, bang this out, should have it to the president's desk by Friday.
So you're expecting the president to sign it and reopen this government by the end of this week. Look, the House voting timing is when? Wednesday?
Wednesday would be the earliest, Maria, probably Thursday.
And that's Ohio Congressman Michael Rulli with me earlier on this program, expecting the government to reopen Thursday or Friday. The Senate clearing a critical procedural hurdle overnight to bring an end to this record 41-day government shutdown. And that's because 8 Democrat caucus members joined all but 1 Republican in a 60-40 vote, allowing the updated continuing resolution to move forward after more than 13 times votes since September. It includes a full-year minibus for 3 appropriations bills to be attached, funding agencies through next fall. It also funds the SNAP program through next September and reverses federal worker layoffs, a final package vote set for the coming days, as you just heard. Joining me now with...
So right here, I just want to show you, everybody. Andy was talking about the pork, all the stuff. This is Trump cleaning and reducing the size of the federal government. This is the Senate undoing the federal size of the government by doing what? Bringing back all the federal layoffs? People that were federally laid off? Like, this makes no sense, but this is the type of stuff that we deal with because we don't have a backbone in the Senate.
More is Arkansas Congressman French Hill. He is the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. Mr. Chairman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And I know the deal, of course, needs the president's signature. But what's the impact on the financial services industry, in your view, now that we will see a reopening?
Well, Maria, it's good to be back with you. First of all, the decline in uncertainty after Chuck Schumer led Democrats off into the desert for 40 days. We've got clarity that leads, I think, to a better business environment. One thing that is so frustrating to our business owners, operators, public and private, is government uncertainty. And when you have this kind of a shutdown, not only are you punishing workers, punishing government workers, punishing our families dependent on government programs, but you're also throwing uncertainty in the market. Like, can I get my S-1 approved at the SEC for my company to go public? What if market conditions wholly change in the 40 days of Democrat shutdown? So I think this is good news. I look forward to getting the Financial Services Committee back up and running on the issues that are important to the American people, like housing affordability, how artificial intelligence will affect their banking and securities accounts.
Yeah, I think you make great points because the uncertainty certainly did impact progress and growth. I mean, look, we're going to see these numbers in the first quarter when we actually see the serious impact that this has had to the economy, these 41 days of being closed. But I wonder what it was that actually got those Democrats to say enough. Was it the fact that we're seeing serious impact to the economy? Was it the fact that travel was snarled and canceled across the country and it was really impacting American families? Was it the fact that so many people had lost their SNAP benefits? Or was it the discussion over the filibuster, as Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson raised to me yesterday? Here's what he said. Watch.
Democrats, we already know, they absolutely will nuke the filibuster. They purged the 2 members that prevented that last time. Every last one of them in the Senate right now is pledged to nuke the filibuster. I can't imagine a Democrat Senate for Senate candidate not having to pledge that. So when they gain power, and that's what we need to prevent, they can never gain power again. If they gain power, they'll nuke the filibuster to maintain power. They will obstruct every good piece of legislation President Trump and Republicans want to pass. So we better act first. I wish the Democrats respect the filibuster. It's a good thing for the institution, but they don't. So you have to recognize that reality. Are Democrats dedicated to nuking the filibuster when the other side's in power or not? Be about the only thing that would restrain them from nuking it when they got power if they're on record as saying no when President Trump was in office.
Do you think you have the support within the Republican Party?
Probably not now, but again, we didn't have the support to change the rules on nominations until the Democrats were so obstructive, so obnoxious. When the House passed a very reasonable CR, the same type of continuing resolution the Democrats voted for 13 times under Biden at Biden's spending levels, and they are still holding firm, emboldened by Tuesday's election.
Congressman, that's pretty damn.
So right there, everybody, you're seeing it here, that we are moving forward. We're about to reopen the government. Things are looking great. There is a little bit of concessions, I will say, but not as much as it would have been if, I'm telling you, if it was last year. They gave so much dang pork in last year's omnibus bill. It was insane, but this is where we're at right now. Trump putting America first. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. If you're not a part of the family yet, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button so we can take care of you every day with the breaking news. Lots is going on right now. But what I love is that we're showing you so much facts, everybody. Lots of things are moving towards the center. Lots of common sense is winning. Lots of Americans are starting to see that the dang Democrats don't have a plan. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Want to give some special love to those that have given today. Remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we donate live to a local charity, to a children's home. And I'm so excited because every single month we give more and more, and we're just winning whenever we're giving and whenever we're bringing the truth. Y'all show Patrick Trebet some love in the chat, everybody. Jim Barbato, OG of the channel. Our boy Richard, thank you so much, Richard, for your support. Melinda Johnson, welcome to the family. Our boy Andy with the truth bombs today. Kim Jordan, OG of the channel. Jog Haas, thank y'all so much for your support. Andy said Pelosi is worth $278 million in 2025. In 2018, she was worth $130 million. Suspicious, 100%. She's the definition of sus. And our boy Robert Cash said we should do the filibuster no matter what. 100%. Show Robert some love in the chat, everybody. And again, don't forget our sponsor. If you're on Medicare, right now is open enrollment, guys. And I'm telling you, this is a free service. You can't get better than this. We literally are bringing you a service that has saved seniors on average $1,100 a year. We have people on this channel that have saved thousands of dollars a year because they got on the right plan. And this is what makes me happy, is because they do this for free. We've shown you the receipts. You call them up, 667-895-3015. They're going to get you taken care of. You tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. They're going to get you taken care of. And I'm so happy because so many people have just been taken care of exponentially on this channel. And they're winning. It's free. And we're just helping each other out be better. Thank you so much for sharing our videos on X, on Facebook. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next